In my late 30s, went on a fishing trip to an island off the coast of Queensland. I was there with a couple of workmates, and ostensibly the reason for going to the island was to fish. The island is massive, sand island, known for wildlife, fauna, etc., etc., etc. About 200K out of Brisbane. And then about 2K off the coast, if my memory serves me correctly. It was about June that I was there with my mates. Cold morning, but beautiful day. Anyway, this morning the boys and I started drinking very early in the day, and the beach was clear. We had a 4x4. We were driving around the edge of the water. We would not believe it, but in a car right in front of us was Mark. Completely unplanned. Had no idea that they were there. Had not been in touch with each other about our mutual intentions to go to the island. But catching up with him under those circumstances was absolutely marvelous and wonderful. He was a lovely man and squeezed a lot into his life. He had a wonderful capacity to make friends wherever he went. I lived by myself, and I can tell you, Randy, that I miss him heaps. As I said to you before, if you ever come this way, look me up. And thanks for the celebration. So that was from Paul.
So here.
From Adrian, okay, Mark's younger brother by 8 years. Wish I could be there, sorry I can't. Want to share a couple of Australian stories. Mark was my hero. When he was in schoolboy rugby, he got to the highest level in the 1970s schoolboy rugby. My grade 5 classmates got extremely bored after a while about me ragging on my brother. Interestingly, though, in Australia, who followed the history of schoolboy rugby, all remember him for at least one feat. He was the first member of the Nudgee first 15 ever to be sent off in a game, in other words, thrown out. He remained very proud of that. Typically, Mark was standing up for a mate, though, although the on-field official clearly thought it was a little too vigorous. A couple of months ago, I was at a large dinner function honoring Australia's greatest ever rugby player, a guy named Mark Loney, who was the captain of the Australian team in the 70s and 80s and considered one of the world's best ever rugby players, and who also went to Mark's school. I was quite excited to meet him, and I was finally introduced to him. He caught my surname, and he said, "You're not Mark's brother, are you?" Then he stopped me at my table and spent an hour with me telling me what a great guy Mark was, with an intellect and with the courage of a rugby player, and how much fun he had playing rugby with him at school. I was a little miffed. My one chance to chat with the great Mark Lone. All he wanted to do was talk about Mark. Typically, though, still overshadowing, I was very proud. My other memory of Mark, I have of Mark comes from the time I was visiting him not too long after his initial diagnosis. He was driving home from New York to Boston one evening. It was a winter evening with rain and snow and ice. Mark had a new car, and he was showing me what he could do while chatting about Ann and his boys. He was also eating a burrito with one hand. He had a comedy CD on and was crying laughing while flicking channels around to get the latest college basketball scores. His phone rang, and it was work, and he was to chair a teleconference with some coworkers. He didn't miss a beat. He continued to do everything. Drove in the bad weather, listened to the comedy channel, ate the burrito, chatted occasionally to me, showed me pictures of Ann and the boys on the phone, and chaired the teleconference all at once. I just looked at him in awe as I sat there gripping my armrests. But even for me, it was too much when a car ahead changed lanes a bit too close to him. So Mark flashed his high beams at the guy and said, "Pay attention and watch the road, you." And I'm not going to say that. But really, in a way, this was Mark. That moment seemed to capture some of the things he loved the most. His beloved Ann and the boys, his passion for work, his great sense of humor, his love of fast cars and food, and his ability to make them all work together at once. He was my hero, and I miss him every day, Adrian. So, a couple of the Australians checking in with us. So what I want to do is just start here, go around. Any of y'all that want to say anything, you can. So off you go.
don't know, it's been a while since I've seen Mark. I just always remember him and the boys. I remember one time in Raleigh. I think we were all there one night having dinner, and remember Matt and Shane shoot Dad with a paintball gun. And remember that was one of the. We were all laughing on the back deck. We were all laughing.
I remember that with a coat because the coat was ripped wide. I mean, I had the sleeves on the coat. And
yeah, but I don't know. That was one funny time. I remember us all laughing on the back porch in Raleigh.
Yeah.
But we were young, you know.
Oh, that's right. I remember different. We had the. Didn't we take the trash can lens, right? You guys were firing. I think you maybe remember or not. I don't know. We were over there, but you guys were firing on us. We ran through the yard and let you fire.
Yeah, we took turns running through the yard, and
yeah.
I remember Dad was the last one to go, and he got hit pretty good.
I got hit.
Yeah. That was a funny memory.
I didn't get to meet Mark. I think I only got to meet him one time, so
Right.
I married into the family, and so didn't get to know him as well as I would have liked. So I'm excited to hear all of y'all's stories and get to know him a little better through y'all.
That's great.
Well, my encounters with Mark were few and far between, unfortunate to say, but they were quite memorable. We went up to see New York, and he let us stay at his place. So that was really nice, and I think really the fact that all these people here are here can attest to Mark and the impression he made on all of us. So that's my contribution.
Well, I feel like Mark was probably the first Australian accent I'd ever heard, so I thought that was pretty cool. I've heard a few now more, but I would say I can always remember going up to New York and playing tennis with them, and that was really some of our first tennis that I played with them. So I think that probably could have been a start for me and Blake. A love for tennis, which I think is pretty cool, because it's really impacted my life. But yeah, I just would always remember him. It's always good spirits, and it's just sad that he's gone. So.
Well, I never really knew Mark. From all the stories y'all told, he seemed like a nice guy, really funny, kind of goofy in a way. But I really wish I got to meet him.
So here we all are, almost a year after he left us, and a testament to the power of Mark to connect with people all across the spectrum of humanity. We're a small fraction of it. At his funeral, at Matt's funeral, to get to see people that interface with him through work was mind-boggling. The amount of respect that he held in the professional community, the way he was viewed internationally as an expert in his field. His ability to make close friendships with ordinary people around him, and his primary characteristic, I would say, though, was family-centered nature. Mark could deal with whatever life dealt him, and he showed that throughout his life. Matt's death was really the only time I ever saw anything get the best of Mark Triscott. I know he carried that pain to the end, but what a father he was and is. So one day, when he was living in Raleigh, he asked Jack and I to come over and play golf. That was a time when we were all three better golfers and had more enthusiasm. So we were very excited about this round of golf. So we got up that morning and it was raining. And it was really raining. So Jack and I drove over to Raleigh, and we went to never stopped raining. We went over to the golf shop, and walked into the golf shop, and I think the poor pro was like locking the door, getting ready to go home. We said, "Well, we're here to play," and he said, "You can't be serious." You know, it was literally pouring buckets, not a break in the clouds, nothing. I believe we made our tee off time, and we played every stroke of every hole. I don't think anybody broke 100. We were soaked to the bone. Our clubs were soaked through and through. There was no use in dealing with an umbrella. There was no use in trying to dry the grip off. It was one of the most memorable golf rounds of my life. You know, that tenacity, and there really aren't many people that I would have put myself through that. So, cheers to you, Mark.
Cheers.
Well, I've known Mark for 30 years, maybe, close to that. We were neighbors back in Winston-Salem, so that's where we first met and had our children together, and just had a really special relationship with Mark. He was always so kind, and I even asked my children, who are now 28 and 22 before I came here, what are your memories of Mark throughout the years? And they both said the same word, kind. He was just so kind and wanted to mentor them, and as they are adults, and helping them with their career paths. And, just as we all know, just a kind person. But this is so appropriate being on the golf course, because that's where I have so many memories, because we would vacation. We vacationed together for over 20 odd years. I can't remember now, it's been so many, and every year when we vacationed, usually at Ocean Isle, we would go play golf, and so I would see golf, but see the course with Mark, and throughout those times, he would have some really good rounds, and then, as we all, not so good rounds, but he never gave up. He never was negative. He was always so positive. And even in those last few years when his health was declining, and he'd go out and he was spending more time in the woods finding his ball than on the course, and he would just throw down his ball and continue, and never really say anything negative, and I just felt like that's how he was in life. He was so positive, and just he never gave up, and even through all his sickness, he just had such a spirit. He just had that spirit about him, and I'll just always just be thankful that he came into our lives, and that he was just such an incredible, extraordinary person. And we know life is fleeting, but when we are able to have that joy from such an extraordinary person, it just makes our lives so much better. And I'm just so thankful for the time we've had with Mark, and I just want to say, cheers to his kind and gentle soul, and he will be forever missed, and he will never leave our hearts. Love him, miss him. So, Lord.
All right, cheers.
Yeah.
The theme of what I was going to say was very similar to what Sharon said, and that's that I never ever heard a complaint out of Mark in all the years I've known him, which is not as long as Sharon and Jack have, but we're part of the Ocean Isle crowd and vacation, and we're so thankful that we have gotten to have the friendship with the family. But I never did hear ever him complain. And he would go out and play golf every year at Ocean Isle. And I know some years it wasn't comfortable for him. But my favorite memories of times with Mark, it's our custom to sit on the porch at night after dinner at the beach, and we watch the stars, and that's just what we do. It's not real exciting, Kathy knows. It is exciting, though. But Mark, he always he was so understated in some ways, and yet he always brought something very unique to the conversation. And whether it was some weird music that none of us knew, that he loved, and he shared it with us, and I just always found that really great. But some of the best books I've read are ones that Mark mentioned, movies that he liked, and another word that I think of when I think of Mark is gentle. He was just such a gentle person, and I know he couldn't have been that way all the time to have become the success professionally that he was. But he just had the warmest, most gentle nature. And I love that man. Ann and Mark together, I just know that in our continuing friendship, we'll never lose touch with him.
Well, I'm so pleased to know Mark. You know, preparing some thoughts and memories to share, and I bounced them off Sharon because I talked about Mark's success early, this wonderful man's early success on what we call the football field, and then later success in racing cars and fast cars. But then when I got into being married to Lonnie Anderson and dating Sally Field, Sharon said I was talking about Burt Reynolds. And I thought the similarities were pretty profound. So I switched and dropped the Burt Reynolds references, although they are apt for Burt Reynolds passing this week. But it's funny to hear the comments. I enjoyed all the aspects of Mark's life, and it was somewhat, when we go out for dinner some night in Ocean Isle, I don't know if it was intentional, but we would not dress down, we would dress oddly. And if I look over at Mark Triscott, knowing that he is literally the top of his field globally in microbiology, PhD microbiology. He's the man in his field, wearing mismatching plaid shirt and pants, and pulling his best North Carolina redneck accent to order beers for us.
It was not good.
People didn't understand, but they looked down at us ordering these beers in Ocean Isle, and it was priceless and hilarious. And Mark was